Hello, Ian. Kimro.
Hello, Professor. Hakama Tapalat. Camera van Akin.
Oh, how many gama? How many gama? Me Trangan Law Matasavich. Uh, Eola here, Matasavich. Matasavich.
Mara Savage. I know. Are you saying Savage Sunday?
Matasavich. No, as usual.
As usual, I see. Okay.
Matasavich.
I was like, oh, his Sunday must have been really busy. Okay.
Avistja.
Avishja.
Usual.
Usual.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Comes from Avistja, Matasavich. Okay. Mar aha is Avich, Marasavich, Mar Asavich. Mar is Avich. Yeah,
Savage.
yeah, yeah. Put in chat. Mara
Yeah.
uh, Marasavich. Yeah. If I've got the spelling right. So anyway, yeah. Yeah. So anyway, Koyu. J J Jandorenu on Jew. Ian. Jandorenu. What did you do?
What did I do today? Right.
Uh-huh. Aren't you? Yeah.
Let me see. I worked.
Oh. Mm.
Uh, I'm trying to think how I say I worked. I don't know the verb for that. That was most of what I did. I worked and I hung out with the baby. So
Is it Yoper or is Oper
Koper?
is it
Koper?
Yoper? Goper? Gop
Koper uh, um, Jirisha how a Koper. And what do you work? What are you occupied with? Jirisha.
I work in healthcare research.
I'm sorry?
I work in healthcare research.
Healthcare research. Oh, I shouldn't lay in, shouldn't I?
Yeah, it is. It is interesting.
Yeah.
Keep me busy. So
Yeah. Okay. I'd believe that. Okay. I guess Usa Isaac. General Usa, aren't you?
Hami Yoper mi
Koper.
Kuchach.
Good.
I guess Hami IT person. Nyach.
And an
Nyach
IT.
IT.
Uh-huh. Neck IT. Okay. Okay. I'd believe that. Yeah. Okay. I guess Tanea, Kamra Usa. Kamra Usa, aren't you? Okay.
Hi, Haguma. You said Kimura Hausa?
Uh-huh. Kamra Usa. What is USA? Do we know USA?
It's like how are you?
Yeah. It's the emphatic. Yeah.
Haguma?
Uh-huh.
How hey?
Oh, Hamigama. Hamigama. Let me a Cooper or root no ya and you. Okay. Er class, I guess let me skrivig novel Arkansas. I guess how many Cooper etter hengigach too. Etter hengigach. Okay. Translation. Etter okay. Hashin Ishnach. Okay. In the chat, etter hengigach. Okay, etter hengigach. Okay. From between tongues. Et hanger. What's hanger? Okay. And so, like in English, a tongue can be, the body part, but also it can be a language. And Eterhangukuk is one of the words for translation. You know, Eterhangukuk. Sometimes you'll see people just might use chundi to change, okay, or to turn. Okay, but anyway, but well, how many koper Eterhangukuk uh, uh, okay.
So is ether hangahach there? Is it a verb or a noun? Like, are you saying I am working on a translation or I am
Yeah,
translating?
that is the verbal noun.
That's the verbal noun. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
which could be either a verb or a noun.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. Makes sense.
on Eterhangukuk, on Eterchangukuk, I guess Misk and Shillich. Okay. And I'm working on a who a Misk and Shillich. Okay. Eterhangukuk vo Vierla Gugalic. The wind in the willows, in the midst of the willows. Okay, so I'm working. So I've got the first draft done, and I'm working with some people, some advanced students, uh, to do fine editing. So we're going through it little by little. Becker Vic. Okay, and editing it. Yeah. So anyway, so it's a long, slow process, and we get together only about once a week, and then work on another couple pages. So anyway, so Hashintli and Chinook, I guess how many
Why that book, by the way?
it was there. Yeah. Yeah. No, it was convenient, but I just finished reading Prince of Beck, The Little Prince, translated into Gaelic. And then I thought, oh, maybe I could do something like that. And so what's a popular book in the public domain? I mean, has to be in the public domain. I just can't take somebody's book that's still copyrighted. But if it's in the public domain, it's open to everybody. But anyway, so what's a popular book? And so I thought, oh, okay. Yes. So it was there, like a mountain. So anyway, yeah. Um, but it's a fun story, what's a fun, I never read it when I was a kid. And rereading it, well, first, of course, I read it in English and then started working on it, but it's pretty funny. It was a fun book. So anyway, and it's a fun project. So anyway, but yeah, but yeah, working on that, and then once in a while uh, uh, I've put a couple poems of mine to music, and done videos on them, and then as you know, I just recently uh, did the folktale. Yeah, the Balan nan ye Yamadan and Lay Yamadan, and the village of Halfwits, and that's kind of fun. So I think that's going to be a kind of a semi-regular project, to put Gaelic folktales, on YouTube. So anyway, so how many trying how many trying on you? Hulala, be me trying hulala. So anyway, so 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 tonight, will you in school hast? Are you still in school?
Uh, how to say yeah, I am.
Or B, B, yeah, ha or B, yeah. Okay, clever. Uh, uh, mm, uh, be Sir Lion Arket, where you have holidays
Um,
on Astarag in the summer, Saurag, summer.
yeah. We have like 27 more days of school.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, okay. So, oh, until late May. Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. Mm. Well, Planikin Arket is in Antaurag. Do you have plans for the summer?
Yeah, lots.
J.
Uh,
JMBU Jennifer. What will you be doing?
um, Me and my family are saving up to go to Sierra Fiddle Camp, um, which is,
Uh,
yeah.
what did you say to Fiddle Camp?
Yeah, Sierra Fiddle Camp is led by Alistair Fraser. Um,
Ah,
yeah, my mom plays guitar, my sister plays cello, and I play fiddle.
oh, okay. Oh, clever. Cachevelle? Where is it?
Um, it's in Nevada City.
Nevada City?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, clever. Clever. Oh, Bischen Sporsel. That'll be fun. Sporsel. Oh, clever. Clever. Okay. All righty. Okay. So, does anybody have any questions? Any questions about what we're doing?
I have one question from a previous week. So when we were working on the past tense of the irregular verbs, I know
Uh-huh.
that we covered questions and negatives for most of them. I don't remember that we covered questions and negatives for bear or rook. I was wondering if we could go over those really quickly.
Okay. Yeah. 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 I left those out.
Yeah, no, I know. I wanted to,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
to
And
ask. So
yeah. And I left them out because I wanted to simplify, even if just by a little bit, because those aren't used that much. But anyway, but let's go. Let me call up but I can make a couple notes and we can talk about those briefly.
thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been curious.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Go back to Zoom. Share. Okay. All right. Okay. Do we have the top page? But I'll take us to the all right. All right. Okay. Note again. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Um Bear and uh yeah. And okay.
Rook, I think.
Rook. Yeah.
Rook.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. No, it's not rook. It's uh what do we have?
I have RUIG for rook for reach arrive.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, Ruik.
Rook.
Ruik. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Ruik. Yeah. Um um okay. Because this is one of the reasons. Um Bear okay. Past tense is rook. Okay. So that's what kind of threw me for a moment. Okay. Ruik, arrive, past tense is the Rannoch. Okay. 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 Rannoch. Bear, arrive, bear would be catch. Sometimes bear, a child. Okay. Okay. Past tense would be rook. Okay. Past, what do you call it? Interrogative, question. Uh, whoop, would be druk. Okay. Uh, on druk, dochat, achu. Did your cat bear a dog? Okay. Do you remember the saying that we have? Nach do ruk do cat na cúlan. Okay. Hasn't your cat born puppies? Do you remember that? That's one of our proverbs. Actually, one of my favorite, one of my favorites. Because cats uh, uh, don't want any cat people to take offense, but cats are in a sense worthless in the herding culture of the Gaels, because you need dogs, like sheepdogs, right, to herd animals, dogs and cattle. Cats are notoriously resistant to any kind of training or cooperation. Okay. So ruik means to arrive. Okay. Past tense would be Rannick. Okay. Rannick Sheen Avala. We arrived at the city. Okay. Okay. And Andranik. Did you arrive? I'll put it in the second person. Andraniku. Okay. Andraniku. Okay. Right. That's not that complicated, I guess. Andaruk dokatku. Okay. Nakdoruk dokat nakulan. Yeah. So this would be the question. Nakdoruk. Andoruk. Okay. So that'd be the question form. Okay. Duruk. And which is actually it's actually do rook, but it's contracted to druk. Okay, something like question of rain did is often contracted to drain. Okay. But we sometimes see something like Ondoruk or Ondorain. So we sometimes see the complete form. It's not always contracted. Okay. Okay. And our and okay. And so like right here, Andraniku, we sometimes see Andoranic. Okay. So we sometimes see the complete form. This is more common in writing. Okay. In speech, most often, even if people are thinking Andoranic, they say something like Andranic. Okay. So they say Andranic. And just a little note, R often behaves like this. Like a like a liquid or a hard consonant, because we will see something like ara, which is treating the R like, I'm going to scroll down, like a vowel, like a consonant, or a gra, which is treating R like vowel. Okay, so anyway, but okay. but there we go. Okay. And I didn't want to bombard you guys with too much, but anyway, but rook. Oh, and a way to remember, 1 second, Ian, I'll get to you in just 1 second. Just let me do this thought. One way to remember rook is the phrase, we haven't gotten to the passive voice yet. But rookuk, but you can remember this, rookuk me is hokuk me. I was born and raised. Okay, so and we're so familiar with this form, we don't realize this is the passive voice. I was born, not my mother bore me, but I was born. I was, and raised, you can see, is the passive voice. Not that my parents raised me, the active voice, but I was raised. I was born and raised. So, and you see that in rookuk me. So that's a way to remember the rook. Okay. On the rook, uh, or rookuk me. Okay. I was born. Okay. Or rookuk a, he was born. Anyway, yeah. But Ian, yeah, a question?
And then thank you for breaking this down. My guess is that the past negative for these is hadaruk and hadarindik. Is that
Yeah,
right?
hataruk. Yeah, hataruk. Yeah. What do I say? And hadranik. Okay, so hadranik. And again, say hatoranic. Okay. Okay. Um same deal with the d or the do, and then where are we? Hatoruk. Yeah, and then uh uh Nocturuk or Hatoruk. Uh Hatruk. Okay? Okay. Uh didn't bear. Okay? Okay. Hataruk Moven Unlenaf Unlenaf Hast. Okay, my wife hasn't born the baby yet. Hasn't given birth. Okay, yet. Okay. Okay. Oh, I forgot the verb. Hataruk. Okay. Hataruk Moven Unlenaf Hast. My wife hasn't given birth yet. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. There we go. Yeah. Okay. So I hope that helps.
Very much so. Thank you.
Okay. And of course this will be in the note again, in the updated thing I send you. Thing. Whatever this thing is that I'm writing on here. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Any follow-up questions? Okay. And of course these are uh are uh 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 irregular. Okay. I mean, you can see the jumping from bear to rook, and then from rook to ronic. Okay. Yeah. So, okay. Anyway. Okay. Hey, Gleva. Gleva. Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Anything else about this or anything else? Okay. Yeah, let's go. Let's go up to the top. Okay. All right. So this week's Piper Là Beltainn. Là Beltainn. Beltainn. Okay. Yeah. And this week I'll talk about after spending the last couple of weeks talking about disaster, the disaster around Blar Huloter, okay, Culloden Moor. We'll talk about something a little bit more fun, which is Beltania, Beltane, okay, which is kind of the Gaelic equivalent of May Day. I mean, it's not quite May Day, but takes place around the same time. So we'll talk about that. Anyways, that's a Piper today. Piper piping around the Beltane fire, right? Okay. All right. Okay. All righty. Okay. And let's see. Okay. Oh, Fàilte. Okay. So, Hofluch retone tonic or tunic. Hofluch retone tunic. Okay. As wet as a duck's backside. Okay. Kind of a fun little saying. And here we see also Hofluch. Hofluch. Ri. Hofluch ri. That's how we say something is as something else. Okay, so uh, uh, and so va mi hofluch retone tunic. I was as wet, say I got caught in the rain. I was as wet as a duck's backside. Retone tunic. And backside is I guess a polite way to say a duck's butt. So anyway, um, anyway, hofluch ri. Yeah, so we haven't gotten to comparisons yet, but that's a little grammar lesson. Ho, and then the adjective, whatever adjective. Hart ri biaun. Okay, as tall as a mountain. Okay, okay, all right, okay, and we have a couple little videos, but I don't want to get behind. So these are here for you to look at, or if we have time later on, we can come back to them. Okay. All right. Okay. So Shenachel Neshechana. Okay. Harun Giever eter trier no yeacher eter gias. You also see it as Chanye Run Giever Ahaun Mavisse eter trier no yeacher eter gias. Okay. So it's not a secret between three or even between two, or the other way. It is not a secret if it is between three or even between two. Okay. Okay. So here's our little cartoon. Don't tell anybody. Do not tell to anybody. Okay. Nakishtu, Okay, and then Garir, Hai Gorach, certainly he is silly, he is foolish. Okay, okay. Ben Franklin wrote a variation of this in his Poor Richard's Almanac. Three can keep a secret if two of them are dead. Okay, kind of a funny little saying. Okay, Harun Jeaver, the assertive verb. Okay, and the verb is not expressed, it's implied. Run Jeaver, literally a secret desire, or it could be a secret story. Run equals a story or desire. Jeaver equals secret. Okay? And here's another language note. Gaelic has an array of, of special numbers for people, and they're only applied to people. Uner, Gias, Trier, Keirer, Koigner, Sheaner, Schechner, Ochner, Nuiner, Jechner. Okay. So Uner, and these can be used either to modify a noun or by themselves. Okay, so Uner equals one person, and Uner is the only one that doesn't apply to a noun. So you say Unvalak. So Unchalik would be one old woman. Giasfak, two sons. Tuirchaliken, three girls. Kerer Vordenach, four women. Koigner Ferriken, five sisters. Sheaner Hygeren, six soldiers. Schechner Eir, seven men. Ochner Henner, and eight grandfathers. Neuner Valach, nine boys. Jechner Votach, 10 old men. And I'm going to come back to the genitive. I had a request to review the genitive, and I'll do that in a week or two. But one of the things that you'll see here, or you might or might not recognize it, is that the noun that we use, and these are the plurals, so 2 sons, 3 girls, and etc., follows the rule of the genitive plural. And the rule for the genitive plural is you use the lenited, if I'll go back. If the root plural ends with an an, like Seachdaine, Pericin, Calican, then that becomes the genitive plural, and lenited, Calican, Voranach, or Thericin. If the root plural forms a plural by some other way that is not an an ending, then the genitive plural is the root singular. Okay, all right. So the root singular, we use the root singular. Okay, for the genitive plural. Okay, so that's why we get Seachdaine air and lenited. Okay, but in this case the plural for fair, which is a man, is fear, FIR. So it's not an an ending. So we go back to the singular, the genitive plural, which looks like the singular. All right. I know, very confusing, which is why we're going to come back to the genitive. All right. Anyway, but the main point is we have this special class of names for numbers, words for numbers, when we're referring to people. Okay, so I could say Angeas, something like the 2 of them. I don't have to put a noun to it, and I could say the 3, Ranakantrirgaki, the 3 arrived home. Okay, so I can use them by themselves, or I can use it as a number to modify a noun. Okay, all right, okay. And then Nahishtu, idiom says don't say, something like that. Okay, all right. Okay, Na'insh, don't tell. The na is a negative command form, similar to do not. So narak, don't go. Nabil, don't hit. Nascrive, don't write. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. So, and it's interesting. One little saying gives us a 20-minute lecture on grammar and vocabulary. So anyway, all right. Okay. All right. Grammar na Shechen. Okay. The future tense of the irregular verb. Okay. All right. So we have looked at the future tense of the regular verb. Excuse me. I is having troubling talking tonight. Okay. And we have learned that for the most of the verbs, for all but 10 verbs, all we have to do is add an IDH or an ADH to the root, right? So brish, to break, becomes brishchi, will break. Foskel, to open, becomes fostly. Okay, and remember, right here, we experience, or the verb experiences, what's called syncope, that is, it contracts. So it's not foskally, it'd be just fostly. Kyle, Kylie, okay, loss or will lose. Kaunic becomes kaunicky, okay, will buy, okay. Okay. Now we come to the small, thorny, nettle-lined corner of the Gaelic garden, the irregular verbs, or at least the future tense, okay? The good news is there's only 10 of them, okay? So the less good news is they are common, okay? and determined to behave like little grammatical goats on the roof. Okay, so, or what was that song that we sang? Pischiken Spiders McIntyre. You know, kittens on the on the roof beam of McIntyre. Okay, anyway, so okay, so uh, uh, and okay, okay. Okay, so we'll learn statement, question, and negative, and the answer. Okay, all right, so let's just go here. Okay, so here are the first five that we will look at. Okay, clean. Okay, now this looks like it's regular. It kind of behaves like the regular. Clean behaves like a regular. The future would be clooney. Okay, unclean, chachloin. Okay, so this cloin behaves like a regular verb, but if you remember, but it's classified as an irregular verb because if you remember, the past tense is hula. Okay, okay, hula, which doesn't look like the verb at all. So it's classified as irregular, even though the future tense looks regular. And this is not, as we see when we get to the other verbs, this is not a pattern. So there's not a regular pattern for the irregular verbs. They're just all over the place. And we see this. Gen, to make or do. The verbal noun would be a genif, and the future would be ni. Ni me. Okay, I will do something. Ni me. Okay. The question is, angen, angen me, will I do? Angen u, will you do? A chagen. Okay, chagen. Okay, uh, I will chagen me. I won't do it. Okay. Rach. Okay, to go. One of the first verbal nouns that we learned, adol, hami adol, be me adol. Okay, I will be going. I am going. Vami adol, I was going. But the future here is H. Okay, so we get anchech. So this is kind of a regular pattern. You see, so between the assertive plural, the assertive future and the question or the negative future, all we do is we drop the lenition, H to anchech, anchech u, will you go? Anchech u chianacheli, will you go to the Kaylee? Chachech, hamidula chachech, okay, be me a coper. I will be working. Chachech. I won't go. Okay. Hick. The verbal noun to be achian. The future is hick. And the question form is anchik. So again, we see the modification of the assertive future by just dropping the lenition, anchik, chachik. So, feich, to see, a fechen. Okay, so that's kind of straightforward. The verbal noun is easy, right? Okay. We can see how the verbal noun follows from the root verb. But where the hell did we get the future tense from? He. Okay, okay, so quite a bit different. Okay, he me. Okay, and we might remember the song. He me na morviana. He me na corviana. Okay, so I see the the large mountains. I see the peaked mountains. Okay, he me, and he can serve as either a present tense uh, or a I can see, or it can be a future tense. Okay, or it can also be a habitual. Okay, so, uh, but anyway, but we have he. So to remember that, just remember the song, and fake. Okay, will fake me? Will I see you? Fake me you. Nura. Uh, 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 fake me you. Nura rukik me. Donation. I see you when I arrive at Edinburgh. Fake me you. Nura rookie me donation. Okay, fake me you. Okay, well, I see. Fake. So with this, you see that we go back to the root. And chanaik. I will not see. Chanaik me. Okay. 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 Chanaik me. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Got that. So that's the first group. And so some notes. Cluin, kind to us. Cluny me. On cluin u me. Can you hear me? Will you hear me? Sometimes, can you hear me? On cluny me. Okay. Sometimes we could translate it into English as, can you hear me? Will you hear me? Can you hear me? Hachlunmiu. I will not hear you. I cannot hear you. Okay. Uh, and the future form cluny still looks like the root cluin, and it looks like the regular, I'll make this addition note, and looks like a regular verb future tense, right? Okay. Jin changes dramatically. Ni mi shin, I will do that. Anjen u shin, will you do that? Anjen. So here we go back to the root. Chajin mi shin, I will not do that. Okay. All right. Okay. Rak, the verbal noun is adol, and the future is H. Okay, so we have quite a bit of shifting and changing there. Whole lot of changing going on, right? The root is rak, the verbal noun is adol, and the future is H. Okay. Uh, this is one of those Gaelic verbs that seems to have gone into the wardrobe and come out wearing somebody else's coat. Okay. No telling who it is. All right. Okay. So H mi yanvala, I will go to the town. On t-Sùghain vu, will you go to the shop? Chachech mi raki hast. I will not go home yet. Hachech mi raki. Okay. I'm at the party and I'm having too much fun. Hachech mi raki. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Hick. Okay. Hick mi amarak. I will come tomorrow. So this is easy, right? Hick, the same as the root. On chichuanok, will you come tonight? So we just dropped the lenition. On chiki anju, she will not come today. Hachiki. Hachiki. Okay. Okay. All right. So we're losing the lenition. Right. Okay. Okay. And remember, so I'll just mention this after I finish this. Fake. Okay. Very important irregular verb. Okay. He me, like I said, he me namor Vienna. Okay. Fechu me. Fechu namor Vienna. Will you see the mountains? Okay. Chanaik me. Okay. Chanaik me namor Vienna. Okay. I won't be going to Scotland this year. Chanaik me namor Vienna, and I won't see the great mountains. Okay. And right here, hear me no more, Vienna. I will see the great mountains. And Gaelic often uses the future form where the English might use the simple present. So he, me, and I said this before, can mean either I will see or I see, depending on the context. Okay? Hamia faking nam biaun, I am seeing, I see the mountains. He me na mountain, I see or I will see the mountains. So in both forms of the future, um, and and we can also write uh, uh, um, uh, be me a féchan nam bean. Okay. Okay. I will see the mountains, or I see the mountains. Okay. Habitual. Okay. So the future, I see the mountains right now. He me nimbiauntain, or be me a faking nambiaun. I see the mountains, or I will see the mountains. Okay. Okay. Got that? Okay. I think that should be nambiauntain. Okay. And that should be nambiauntain too. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So that's an important thing to remember. So remember a long time ago, we talked about how the future can indicate the habitual. Okay. Let me just pull this even there. Okay. Can indicate the habitual. And that's true of both the simple future and the future with the verbal noun. Right. Okay. All right. Okay. So I have another set. Oh, darn it. No, I was going to tell you something. And now I forget what it was. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember now. Okay. So, uh, before we go on to the second set, um, answering yes or no. Okay. So, and again, this is a reminder. We answer yes or no with the verb, the active verb. Okay. Okay. So, um, uh, on chick, ooh, amarik. Get the spelling right. Okay. Chiku amarik. Okay. Yes equals hick. No equals chik. Okay. Or fake ooh nabianten. Do you see the mountains? Or will you see the mountains? Okay. Yes equals he. No equals chnaik. Okay. Okay. All right. So we answer with the active verb. Okay, so that's the active verb, and we say yes by repeating the active verb or either repeating the active verb or negating the active verb, I guess you could say. All right. Okay. Any questions so far? Do we get the general idea? Stunned silence. I mean,
Do you understand?
what?
Yeah, it seems like just memorization, like the irregular past, right?
Yeah,
we're just gonna have to kind of deal with it.
Yeah. Memorization and practice, and we will practice it. Probably not tonight. Next week, I'll have a practice session, and we'll spend the whole night practicing these. Okay, just to, drill them. Okay, but let me go through the lecture portion of the second group. Okay, and then we'll go on to something else, and next week we'll come back to this and we'll practice these. To solidify our learning. Okay, so all right, so phi, to get. A phain. Okay, so that's a pretty straightforward verbal noun. Behave. So where the heck did we get that from? I don't know. Okay, anyway, so that's the future. I will get, or he will get, or they will get. Okay. Phi. So here we go back to the root. Phi, will you get? Okay. And Phi is a word that could mean get, or it could mean sometimes to find something. Okay. And Chanai. So here, for the question and the negative, we go back to the root. Okay. So Obair is to say. And it's funny, I think learners learn a gra, and it's only much later that we figure out that Obair is the root verb. It doesn't look anything like anything we've been using, because we start off saying ha e gra, be me a gra, stuff like that, right? So, so what's the root of it? Well, the root is Obair. Okay, so again, don't know where that came from. Anyway, so it's a gra, and the future is hair. Okay, so hear me. Okay, I will say, and the question and the negative future goes back to the root. An Obair, chan Obair. Okay, all right. Will you say an Obair u? Chan Obair a? He will not say. Okay, all right, okay. Bear, okay, okay. Uh, uh, a bray, berry, okay. I'm bear or chaver, okay, to catch your bear. So what was I doing? A rook, okay, okay. Arrive or reach, a rookshin, rookie, unrig, a rookshin, rookie, okay. All right, hold on one second. Did I just make a huge boo-boo? There, okay. Come on. Oh no, bear. Uh, look. There. Where is my chart? I think the chart's wrong. I think I did the chart wrong. Okay. Look at that. Ben. What's the other? Okay. Oh, no, 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 no. I know what happened. I know what happened. Okay, yeah. Okay. Now I got confused. I was talking about the past tense. Now we're talking about the future tense. I'm sorry. Okay. So we still go with see this how confusing bear is. The past tense is rook, but the but the future tense is berry. Okay. All right. Okay. So anyway, I think that's. Does that sound right? Before at the beginning of class, Ian asked me the question, and I was talking about the past tense of bear, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, I got it now. I'm sorry. Sorry for getting confused. Okay, that's how confusing it is. Okay, anyway, but you see now here we have another one of these that looks like it's regular, right? Bear, berry. So that is, if the verb were regular, this is what it would look like in the future tense, berry, okay, to catch or to bear something. Okay, so either to bear a child or just to catch a ball. Okay, for instance, okay? And Obair and haver. Okay? Okay. Ruik, okay, to arrive or reach someplace. The verbal noun would be ruikshin. Okay. Ruki would be will arrive. Ruki mi avala amarak. I will reach the city tomorrow. In English, we say arrive at. We don't say I arrive the city. Uh, but so that's why we always say arrive or reach. I probably put arrive at. Okay. All right, arrive at or reach. Okay. Okay. Ruchin ruki anrik haruik. Okay. Haruik. Okay. Okay. And right here, hor, to give, take, or bring. I have to cut this down a little bit. Okay. Give, take, or bring. Okay. Okay. A torscht, there. Okay. So, and sometimes we get these mixed up. Okay. So it'd be bury, to catch or bear, and to bring, I will bring there. There. Okay. And antor, chator. Okay. Antor u cake yanafarti amarach. Will you bring cake to the party tomorrow? Antor u. Chator. Okay. Vermi loon. Okay. 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 Oops. I don't know why he's doing that. Okay. 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 Antor u cake yana farti amarach. Okay. Hator vermi loon. I'll bring beer. Okay, vermi loon. Okay, all right. So notes on the second group. Fai gave me cup of coffee. I will get a cup of coffee. Fai u Òran, will you get bread? You're going to the store. Fai u Òran. Okay. Chanai sheen Kyle. We will not get anything. Okay, or that could be a question. Fai u Òran. Chanai Mikhail. I won't get anything. Okay. Okay. And so here we have a little comparison between fake and phi. He gave fake. Phi hanaik anai. Okay. Okay. So they're kind of parallel. Okay. Aperth hermi shin. I will say that. An aper ushin. Will you say that? Han aper mi shin. Okay. Okay, so so I sometimes watch detective programs, cop programs, and so one of the bad guys, one of the criminals asks the other one, will you give me an alibi on Apurushin, that I was with you, yeah, that day, something like that on Apurushin, okay, okay, Aper, agra, and hair for the future tense. Hair me. Okay. Bear, bear me erval. I will catch the ball. No, actually, it's bury air would be catch up. Bury me of all. I will catch the ball. Bear u air, will you catch uh, uh, up to it? Beru air, where you catch up to it. You're chasing something. Okay. Haver me air, I will not catch it. Okay. And you should take a special look at this when you come back here. Uh, pay attention to this because they're confusing. Bear is catch or bear, like I said, to bear a baby. Okay. Bury, a future statement, or hor, there, to give or take or bring. There. Okay. So bear me air, I will catch it, ver me gut, I will give it to you. Ver me gut, gut would be gut equals do, u. It's one of those uh, uh, combined pronouns and prepositions. Okay, ruik, ruiki shin antai ekshia uren. We will reach the house at 6 o'clock. We will arrive at the house. Ruki. On ruki, iet on school on an aum. Will they reach the school in time? On ruik iet. Ha ruik mi Glasgow anoch. I will not reach Glasgow tonight. Okay. 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 And hor, and this is tricky just by itself because it can mean to give or to take or to bring. Vermi rut e. Okay, I will give it to you. Vermi lum mochota. I will take my coat with me. I will take my coat with me. Vermi an lor uket. I will bring the book to you. On tor uro e, will you give it to me? On ro, okay, one of those combined prepositional pronouns, okay. Do me, okay. Go equals do me, okay. Will you give it to me? Or chator mi gute? I will not give it to you. No, it's mine. Chator mi gute. Okay, okay, all right, okay. Okay, so then there, on tor, chator, okay. And again, vermi erachat, I will catch the cat, I will catch up to the cat. Vermi biach yan cat, I will give food to the cat. Okay, okay, all right, okay. So one catches the cat, the other gives food, feeds the cat. Okay, vermi good. Okay, berry, it looks more regular. To catch or to bear. Okay, that looks regular, and the hor future form is irregular. Okay, okay. Quick note on and so we'll see both of these. Okay, and just to remind us, uh, remember the mother bakes fine pies. Mother bakes fine pies rule. Okay. On Cluin, on Jen, on Chach, on Chick, on Apper, on Reek, on Tor, and then am fake. Okay, for the fine. Okay. Oops. Okay, so if we have a word that begins with one of these letters, the mother bakes fine pies letters, then we use Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. And the negative particle is usually cha. Chajin mishin, chach miaun, han aper mishin, hanaich mie, hanai mie. I will not get it. Okay. All right. So, and lastly, I think this is it. Yeah. All right. The patterns we may notice. Some statement forms look regular-ish. Clooney, Berry, Ruiki. Okay. Some statement forms are very irregular. Ni, H, he, rave, hair, ver. Okay. The question form is often close to the root. Hajin, fike, fi, an aper, bear, rik, tor. Okay. And the negative uses the question dependent form. Okay. Hajin, hanaik, hanai, hanaper, hator. Right. Okay. Um, but don't make this more systematic than it is. Okay, these are very irregular. Okay, uh, and they are the most commonly used verbs, and so you have to um, uh, uh, learn them. Okay, and a good mantra might be, don't build it, recognize it. Okay, so you don't build these like we do, with the regular verbs. We just find them. We find them already made, like they're seashells, and so we just pick them up on the beach. Okay, and keep them. Okay, all right. Okay, there we go. All right. Okay, so and next week we will come back to this, and I'll make a note that uh, but next week is week 32 already. Okay. Um, week 32, drill irregular future. Okay. So next week, yeah, I'm just making a note. Okay. Um, with 30 lessons, I'm going to pause the share for a moment. Okay. With 31 lessons now, next week will be 32. I have to confess, sometimes I get a little lost, lost in the woods. Okay. Okay. Where am I? Okay. I don't know. Okay. Anyway. All right. Okay. So, but we will come back to this next week, and so I'll give you every opportunity. You'll have every opportunity to uh, learn this form. Okay. All right. Okay. So, any questions? No. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. It's clear as mud. Okay. All right. So let's go to something a little fun, if I can find it. Okay. I have a little uh thing I had. Okay. Well, I have it here someplace. Just give me a moment. Uh, uh, mhm. Well, where did I put it? Bear with me 1 second. I know it's buried here someplace. Uh, uh, okay. Here we go. Okay. I go back to share. All right. Okay. Okay. There we go. Okay. Là Beltainn. Okay. The day of golden or fortunate, glad or grateful Beltane. Okay. All right. So anyway, so it kind of corresponds with May Day. It's not quite the same thing, but it's considered the first day of summer. Okay, and then remember, one of the distinctions between traditional Gaelic culture and our modern dating system is uh, the ancient Gaels didn't exactly uh, count days by numbers or on cameras. It was more when the weather was appropriate or the moon was in the right place. But anyway, so on Caistion. Okay, so May in contemporary Gaelic derived from a Hiat Haurag, the first day of summer, a Hiat Haurag. Okay, the first summer. Okay, it was considered the beginning of the year and signified the opening of the year to the season of life, having come out of the darkness of winter. Okay, so of course, naturally, especially to in more primitive times, more basic times, everybody worked on farms, right? So it's a very important day. We'd survived the winter, and so now we're entering into the warm months. And very often in Gaelic thinking and traditional Gaelic culture, ancient Gaelic culture, there were only two seasons. The dark months and the months of warmth and light. Okay, so Lá Beltainn was very important. Uh, it was a time of yellow flowers, primrose, rowan, hawthorn, gorse, hazel. So Buya, so right here we have Buya Beltane, golden. Buya is also a word used to mean fortunate or good luck. Okay. Uh, 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 Nach Buya gibt. Aren't you lucky? Nach Buya. Okay. Aren't you the lucky one? Marigold, placed in doorways and windows in the 19th century, Ireland, Scotland, and the Isle of Man. Okay. And Buya has another association. It's the color of the sun. So it has it's yellow. It's the color of the sun. It's the color of good fortune, and in some cases, the word itself is used to connote good fortune, good luck. Okay, wreaths were fashioned for people and milk cows. Okay, so people went around with wreaths of flowers in their hair, uh, made wreaths for their cattle. Another common tradition was to leave offerings such as dumplings or coins in exchange for good health by the sides of wells, and of course left for the fairies. Okay, and a procession of the May Queen signified her journey towards summer. So, in some ways, it was personified by the journey of the May Queen, okay, which signified the journey of summer, okay, our journey towards summer, the arrival of the May Queen, okay, uh, which goes back to pre-Christian times amongst the Gaels. And this has to do with what would you call it? The animation, or I was going to say animatronics, but that's not quite right. But how nature was very often conceived of as being animated, not just inanimate, but animated. That is
Oh, animism.
What was that? I'm sorry.
Animism, I think is the word.
Yeah, animism. And that's the noun form, animism. A belief in nature being animated and full of life and having a spirit. Okay, and not just being inanimate uh, or being devoid of spirit and life. Okay, and very often personified by uh, by you know uh, uh, spiritual forces and beings. Anyway, water associated with the goddess Danu, and of course this is pre-Christian. Okay, a water goddess that was actually recognized across the Celtic countries, even way before the Christian times, when the Celts inhabited much of Europe. So rain charms were used at Beltane, sacred wells were visited, and ceremonies performed with their waters, sprinkled over a tree or in the fields. Uh, these rites were held at Beltane, and wells were considered as being especially efficacious for the purposes of healing. Sometimes, and here's a picture up here of a couple young women rolling on the grass to benefit from the May dew. Now now it looks like they're young enough; they don't have to worry about being young, um, but it was connected with the magical rites and moisture. Okay, yeah. So maybe I should go out and roll in the May grass, see if that helps me. Okay. Anyway, uh, young girls wash their faces in the morning May Day dew to preserve youthfulness and attractiveness. Okay. Uh, uh, Nowadays, people spend hundreds of dollars over face cream. Okay. But in the old days, all they had to do was go out in the field and roll in the grass. Okay. So anyway, all right. This was a liminal time. Okay. And we saw this with Oikahauna. And so we have these liminal times in Gaelic culture where the portals are open between this world and the next. Okay. And so the portal to the fairyland would be open. And the interesting thing is, I think this is different from, say, a Platonic or even a Christian idea of a separation between the spirit and the earth, between the spiritual and the earthly. The fairyland was not conceived of as being spiritual per se. They weren't spirits who lived in some nether realm. They were actual beings, and it was more like a different dimension, to put it into modern terms. So fairyland was an actual physical place. Okay. And it was inhabited by these beings, okay, who are just as real as we are in this world. Okay. And and it was on the night of Beltainn and on Fridays. We've talked about how Fridays are very important. Okay. Fairies are given to leaving home and sometimes and walking the earth, walking our earth, and sometimes taking away people or sometimes cattle, okay, that they might find useful. Okay, but the important thing is the portals between the worlds opened. Special days captured in the Seanfhacal. Benech nan siúl is nun imich. She and Jews Jehunia. Hachun iet Sheena. Blessing on their going and leaving. This is Friday. They won't hear us. A charm against fairies who are believed to be in fairyland on Fridays. So I guess the fairies took Fridays off. Okay, okay. Berech nan shulas nan imik. Okay, all right. So Beltane festival held in God's house, which was nature. Okay, and this goes back to very ancient times, to the times of the Druids, that that they didn't build churches to confine God in a building. Okay, the Druids thought it was degrading to the gods, whose temple was the entire universe, to think that they would be confined in a mere house. And so their celebrations were held out in the open and the hills with the grandest views of nature, okay, and nearest the warmth of the sun. Okay, so Beltane festival was held in God's house. On Seachdaine, the need fire, all fires in the community were extinguished. The Beltane fire, the Seachdaine, okay, the need fire, the fire of need, it was kindled. All high household fires were relighted from that. So everybody put out their fires, and then they made a new fire, and then they carried the brands, the torches from that fire to all the fires in the community. Okay, probably symbolizes, or might well symbolize, the fire of the sun, having been put out over the winter months and reigniting in the spring for the summer. The Beltane fires were thought to protect. The people led their livestock around the fire or in between twin fires to grant them protection and imbue them with fruitfulness, because, of course, fruitfulness, the ability to bear forth new life, was very important. Okay. Beltainn bannocks. Everyone would take an oatmeal cake called a bannock Beltainn, Beltainn bannock, a bit of which was offered, and a bit was offered to each of the animals that might harm their livestock. So you put out some for the fox and the eagle and so forth. Um, and Sometimes a little ceremony. One of the slices was marked with charcoal, and the slices would be put in a bonnet, and people would blindfold themselves and reach in and see who got the lucky bannock. Okay, and of course, Bannock Beltainn was left for the fairies as well. You had to leave it for the fairies. You had to leave them for the fairies. And whoever got the marked piece would have to leap through the fire. So back to the Beltane fire, or those present would pretend to throw them into the fire. Uh, and Somebody wrote that this might embody a vestigial memory of actual human sacrifice, pretending to throw the people into the fire. Okay. A Beltane blessing. Benech a rialch here nachaun. Blessed all threefold, true and bountiful. Avaichin avacher Sgeulachd. Maiden, mother, old woman. So the ancient Gaels and the ancient Celts had their own trinity. Only it wasn't Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. It was Avaichin, Avaher, Sgeulachd. The mother, maiden, and old woman. Mihain mochela aus machlaun. Myself, my spouse, and my children. Mochlaun vua, the maher chuvis on crown. My tender children and their beloved mother at their head. Clàr huvir, nan ruin, on the fragrant plain. Ari hun nambiaun, at the joyful mountain shieling. Okay. Benachariot here none gown. Okay. Blessing of threefold, true and bountiful. Nachgown means literally not lacking. Okay. Symbolism in the ancient rite. The May queen and king represented spirits of vegetation and fertility. And marriage and union magically assisted growth and fertility. Perhaps in ancient times, the ancient people, well, it's kind of like a spring holiday at Fort Lauderdale. Okay, okay. Spring break only with sympathetic magic because the fertility of the humans influenced and encouraged the fertility of nature. Okay. Springtime fertility festival, sometimes incorporating dancing around a maypole, okay, which is more of an English custom, but sometimes took place. The bonfire was a sun charm, representing and assisting the sun. Lighting the Beltane fires on the 1st of May was a symbolic act, okay, to summon the growing power of the sun. And the king of the May was originally a priest king, the incarnation of the spirit of vegetation. Okay. Here, a surrogate may have been slain while his bodily force was unabated, that it might be passed on to his successor. Okay. In Perthshire, in recent memory, in like the 1800s, man chosen by drawing of the Bannock lottery was still called the Beltane Carlane or Clàr, the old woman. Okay, so remember, this is so the Clàr, because this was the time, remember, that the Clàr was leaving. Okay, and the Queen of the May was arriving. The Clàr, the old woman of winter. Okay. Okay. Oh, so I'm Bennock Beltainn. Okay, so we had that. Okay. Anyway, all right. Okay. All right. So there you have a little bit about Beltane, Beltania. Okay. Okay. Oh, and I didn't include in the slide we're not quite sure where the name comes from. There's some speculation. It might be Balhenna. Okay. It might actually come from pre-biblical sources. The worship of the god known in from the Bible as Baal. Okay, and henna, balchenna, would be the fire of Baal. Okay, but we're not quite sure. Okay, we have the name, but we're not quite sure where it comes from or what it signifies, and that's one of the guesses. One of the guesses is has to do with the chenna. Okay, the fire. Okay, all right. Okay, any questions? All right. Okay.
Professor, I don't have a question, but I had some more to add. A book I just read a little bit ago. It was called The Moor Child, and in it was this tradition. And they would make wreaths. The wreaths that they would put on their doors and on their cattle was made of this plant that repelled fairies, and they would also burn that in the bonfires. I don't really remember what it was. It might have been hawthorn or like St. John's wort. I'm not sure, but
Right.
that plant was like meant to like keep the fairies away, kind of.
Right. Yeah. 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 I think also it has something to do with the plants that were early flowering.
Yeah.
That would flower early in spring, and you know, so it signified the welcoming uh, of the spring, and it was all also, like you say, an offering to the fairies. So and because the Scottish Gaels had to be very careful about the fairies because you know, the fairies could be friendly or they could be cantankerous. So I had to be careful of them. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. So let's see what else I have. I think we should have one other thing. So, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So this would be fun. Okay. So I thought we would go back to uh, we've done this before, but since this might have new meaning for us, since we are uh, going over okay, okay. Otolitari luch an an lofa, okay, okay. The Moor child. Okay, okay, oh, okay, oh, good, okay, all right. I'll look that up. Thank you, Tanea. Okay. The Moor child, a fairy changeling. Yeah. Yeah. And we know who this changelings, yeah, I'll stop this for a moment. We know who the changelings were, or what a changeling was, don't we? What are they?
The fairies would take your baby and leave a fairy baby behind, basically.
Yeah, yeah. And very often like a sickly or an odd baby in one way or another, maybe crippled or not well or malnourished or something like that. So very often used to explain uh, how what today we would understand as being some sort of birth defect type of situation, either physical or mental or neurological or or something like that. But what's interesting is that even though that's the way they explain it, of course they didn't have modern medicine to explain with the sophistication that we do today. But even with that conception that this is a changeling, it's a fairy, it's not a real human, it's not a real human, um, they were still cared for. Okay, I mean, they were, these fairy children, these changelings, were still part of the community. Okay, even though they were considered to be different, and not just different in terms of say ability, okay, either physical or mental or whatever, but but like of a different species, a different order of nature. Okay, yeah. But anyway, so okay, all right, yeah, but thank you, Tanae. I'll look up the more child about the changelings. All right, okay, Gleba. All right, so let's share. Okay, so as I said, we'll go back to He Me No More Vienna. It's a wonderful song, and we get to practice a couple of our irregular verbs. So it starts off with, oh, he me no more Vienna. He mina corviana. I see the great mountains. I see the lofty mountains. He mina cortican. I see the corries. Those are the bowl-shaped little valleys, miniature valleys. He mina scoran fochio. I see the peaks below the mist, fochio. He mi gundal antasa sandrukik me. I see straight away, without delay, the place of my birth, the place where I was born. So there we have the past tense of rook. Okay, rookik. Rookik me is hokik me. Chur orum falcha. I will be welcomed. Sachan and a hookish me. In a language I understand. Gave me. Okay, I will receive. I'll get. An oi august gran nur rookum. When I reach there. Nachreken tuniken or, that I would not trade for tons of gold. He mina kolchen, he mina dorken. I see the woods, I see the thickets. He me on machen bana is toracha. I see fair, fertile fields. And bana sometimes, I guess you might say it's ban. The primary meaning of ban is white, but very often can mean fair. Um, okay. Himina fay. I see the deer, erlarn on Corican, on the ground of the corries. Faliccha, on Tuscan Jeho, shrouded in a garment of mist. Beauntican artas ali lechenen, high mountains and lovely slopes. Slugan and Coney is cora chlechenen, and folks who are always kind. Kind on Coney, always on Coney is, and cora chlechenen. Good manners, worthy manners. And here we see for the verse, for the rhyme, we see an unusual formation. We have the adjective first, lovely, ali, and kind or worthy, kora, and then the noun. Okay, so once in a while we see that happening, and here to fit the rhyme. Okay, Utramachem is lame gun echen, gum fechen. Okay, light my step and jumping to meet them, leaping to see them. Is fanami tachan legion. I willingly remain for a long time. Fakimi uprach. I will leave the tumult. Surt ist lacherich. Commotion and clatter. Yekin a cheer and clunch a chakerich. Where a whisper can be heard. To see the land where a whisper can be heard. Fakimi Christian duncha salach. Okay, I will, probably no comma there. I will leave the dirty, narrow streets. I gavrik glenaf nambo, to see the glens of the cattle. Falcher nagorum velaf holamach hulanach. Hail to the, let's see. Oh, what am I doing? Okay, just trying to even this out. Hail to the blue, green, grassy hills. Falcher Nakorvianov, Mora, Mulanach, hail to the green peaked, hummocky mountains, great towering. I have a mouthful here, okay. Falcher Nakolchen, hail to the forest. Falcher Nahula, welcome, hail to all. So here we have falch being used as more to mean hail, as isn't it wonderful? Okay, to celebrate rather than to welcome somebody, welcome something. O sonavi furachnan kor, content to live near them. I something like leaving out. I would be, okay, or I will be, sona, happy, avi, to be living in their midst, okay, non-core. All right, okay, all right, so let's take a look at what we have, okay, and we'll sing it, okay, as usual. We can hear this?
Yes, there's audio.
Very good. Okay.
Fàilte Scottish Give me all agus Gràmar nach brechen tunnige no. He na morna he na corna he na corche he na scoran for you. He me on culture. Kimi aan deuren, kimi aan magen, bana is torgen, kimi na feelana korgen, falig aan trusken, jehyo. Oh, kimi na morgen. Kimi na cordiana kimi na cordiana kimi na scoran for you. Bjáltachenar da sali lechkenen Sgeulachd koni as kone klachkenen Zitren nog een Lein gam feichen Is fami mi tachken legion. Oh, he me no more, oh, he me no call, oh, he me na correge, he me na score for you. Pagini ubrich, soortages Sgeulachd zich, Jaichin na mooi, hansen kloentjig Eacarsaichean zich, Pagini koersten, doen chagas sabach, javar, gerglaunig nambo. Oh, he me no more, oh, he me no call, oh, he me na correge, he me na scoren for you. Fàilte na goran jaloch, hola noch, ulach noch, Fàilte na corvianoch, Òran mula noch, Fàilte na cailche, Fàilte na huile, Ois sanna vi fuyoch nan go. Oh, he me no more, oh, he me no cordiana, oh, he me na correge, he me na scoran for you.
There we go. Okay. There we go. And if you don't get anything else out of tonight's lesson, I do expect that you will remember the future tense of the verb to see. He. I always have to do it. Oh, what's that word? Oh, he, me, no more. Okay. Okay. All righty. Okay. All right. So, any other questions? Last points of interest? No. Okay. Okay. Well, Tapaleva Hula Dunya. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. It's always a pleasure. So, Himi, Shiv, and I Hecken, and an I Hecken, we will be drilling the irregulars. Okay, so we'll hope to embed them in our memory banks. Okay, all right. So, Aikava.
Merhaba.
Give a tapa
Tapalev.
level of tapa level Harshin.